Welcome to Unit 2, where we'll be discussing congressional control of agencies. Just as there were several sources of presidential control over agencies, there are several sources of congressional control over agencies. The ones we'll discuss here include detailed legislation, legislative oversight and investigation, control over appointments, the appropriations authority, control over an agency's design and procedures, and the legislative veto. So detailed legislation is one way Congress can try to control agencies, but this also poses certain challenges. There are costs involved in gathering information, and the only way to pass a bill may be to avoid specificity. Congress also has oversight powers. It can hold formal hearings to gather information from the agency, and it has less formal methods like phone calls and letters or committee reports that are a way to engage in oversight and also to investigate what agencies are doing. Third, Congress too has some control over the appointment of administrators, notably agency heads. So as previously mentioned, the president can only appoint agency heads with the advice and consent of the Senate. The senators can try to secure promises from an agency head about their conduct in office, and may then later return to that officer in oversight hearings for assurance that Congress's priorities are respected. A more significant move by the Senate would be not to confirm an official nominated by the president at all. In addition, Congress has the appropriations authority, which is the power of the purse. What this means is Congress can decide not to fund or to defund programs that it doesn't want the president or agencies to pursue. And this is often called a backdoor legislative veto. So for example, in an oversight hearing, Congress might ask the agency head how the agency is spending its money and can threaten the job of the agency head or refuse to reauthorize a program by not passing a bill. It does, however, go against the rules of the House and Senate to legislate or pass substantive provisions in an appropriations bill. Another source of congressional control is through the design of an agency and its procedures. So in a statute, Congress can decide to restrict the agency head's term in office or to limit the president's ability to fire an agency head except for good cause. So an example of this is that the head of the Federal Reserve cannot be removed by the president for purely political reasons. Congress can also try to control agencies by putting members of Congress or members of the judiciary on relevant boards or commissions. Then we have the legislative veto, which is any statutory mechanism rendering agency actions subject to a further form of legislative review or control, usually for a specified period of time. This provides a way to slow down or stop administrative actions that are unresponsive to Congress's aims without going through the full legislative process. It does, however, raise separation of powers concerns. So that concludes our discussion of congressional constraints on agencies, and next we'll turn to jurisdictional limits on agencies.